Let's use our quiet voices, please. Calm down. Stop acting like a child.
It's always better when there's a crowd to witness the epic takedown of woke delusions. It's always funnier and way more embarrassing. Today, let's take a look at times delusional wokies got destroyed in front of everyone.
I mean, just the whole environment with this and the cameras and everything, to me, is like not conducive to healthy conversation. I think it's inherently threatening to a lot of people.
I'm sitting behind the table with my
You're
arms
not physically threatening me. I don't think you, I mean...
But then, if you're emotionally threatened, who cares?
That's my point. You're emotionally threatened by all of this. So
feelings mean nothing in the world. No one cares about how you feel except yourself and maybe your mother. Okay. Feelings are irrelevant.
Well, you're here sharing your feelings with everyone.
No, I'm sharing my logic, my facts and thoughts. I haven't told you once how I feel. There's a difference. Feelings and facts are two different biochemical systems in how the mind and the body operates. Feelings are based on emotion, rising blood levels, blood pressure, so on and so forth. Facts and logic are over long periods of time through reflection and through using math, science, and analysis of data.
Disagree.
No, that's what I'm saying. So I'm not telling anyone how I feel, I'm telling people how I think.
Imagine being a grown man and complaining about being emotionally threatened by people sitting at a table and having a conversation.
Would you be okay with a mother taking drugs and drinking alcohol while pregnant?
Of course not, but that's not the point.
Not her body, not her choice, I guess.
Look, I've got a question for you.
You are contradicting yourself by saying she can't drink alcohol and take drugs. Why not?
Because it's medically proven that it can affect the baby.
What does abortion do? Kill the baby.
I can't believe she set herself up like that.
Why do you, as like a professional pundit, think it's fair to come to college campuses and debate like college freshmen? Like, doesn't that seem like kind of unfair to you?
Well, hold on. I mean, let's stop talking down to college kids. I'm talking to voters, right? This audience will determine the future of America. And as you could see with my first dialogue, I'm not here to be adversarial. We disagreed. I let him have his points in. And as far as the fair standpoint, I have no notes. You can go bring a professor. Why don't you go bring a professor and bring him up to the mic?
Okay.
Why don't you go find 5 professors that have PhDs? I didn't go to college. That's a fair fight, right? By the way, you guys are in college. I graduated high school. I'm not sure what your point is here. This is a free speech event. You could bring whoever you want. And also, you don't have to come up to the mic. The last thing I'll say is this, don't think so low of college kids. You might, I don't. This audience will determine the future of Western civilization. And this audience might be drafted into a world war. This audience is being used as pawns by people like John Tester and Kamala Harris to put their radical agenda. It's time that we start talking to the next generation, not talking down to the next generation. And that's what we're doing.
If you're old enough to vote, you better be able to have a conversation about it. If not, go to your dorm room and stay there.
You keep referring to pro-choice people, pro-abortion.
Yeah.
I don't think everyone is pro-abortion. I think it's pro-choice.
Pro-choice to do what?
To do what they want with their own body.
To have an abortion.
Yeah, but that's doing what they want with their body.
Are you anti-abortion or are you pro-abortion? Because like you can only be one or two things.
No, I'm
anti-abortion.
pro-choice.
I'm very happy to take the mantle of being anti-abortion. In fact, that's how I introduce myself at events. Instead of using the word pro-life, I actually say I'm an anti-abortion human rights activist because I think it's very important for us to define what we're for and what we're against. I'm against abortion. Are you for abortion?
I don't think it matters. I think it matters what that
Well, you
person
can be
wants to
pro-abortion,
do.
you can be anti-abortion. If abortion
think
is
it's black
okay,
and white.
if
You think
abortion is
abortion is
simply
black and
removal of unwanted tissue, does nothing wrong, why are you having a hard time saying you're pro-abortion? Just accept the damn word.
What about the baby's choice?
When black people kill black people, they don't come out and do this crap. The only time they do this crap is when a white person touches them. They're the racists.
You're not here to fight injustice. You're here to cause drama.
I am black. I'm not oppressed. I am free.
That's good for you. That's an individual person. What about a systemic issue?
Where? I am black. I do what I want. You have the skills. This is a country where you have the skills. You want to do what you want. You do it. Stop forcing on people to accept that they're oppressed. They are not. I am not oppressed. I am black. Stop making people accept that they're oppressed. You're forcing a rhetoric into your mind, which is not true. That's my point. Okay. Violence is wrong, period. It's not about blacks. Okay. Have you seen any white person coming out and saying white lives matter? No, violence is wrong.
They literally literally do all the time. Every time there's a Black Lives Matter protest, a white person.
It's a valid problem. You guys are wasting everybody's time.
It's always the white women that fight for the blacks, meanwhile. They were just indoctrinated by TikTok.
What about folks who have wombs but are not women? Like trans people, genderqueer folks. Why do you keep saying women when this issue affects more than women?
Because there are two genders, male and
There
female.
are. I am non-binary. I have a friend who is intersex, who is born, who has different chromosomes than you would expect somebody physically to have. Because how many people in this room have had a chromosomal test? This issue affects more than women. It affects trans men. It affects genderqueer folks.
Women have wombs.
I am not a woman, and I have a womb.
You are a woman. And
I
you do
know.
have
No.
Next question.
Imagine getting offended by such an obvious statement.
Statistically, men are turning more conservative, but the women are suffering out here. So I would like to know what it is that I can do when I'm around women to start to change minds.
So look, I'm not an expert in how to win over young women for conservatism. The biggest thing is this: more young women need to get married at a younger age and start having kids. The single woman issue is one of the biggest issues faced in a civilization. We have more single women in the early 30s that are the most depressed, suicidal, anxious, lonely in America's history, because there's a biological clock that's going off, and they realize that they're not going to be able to have kids and that they're not as desirable in the dating market or in the dating pool, and so they start to lash out on the rest of society. Just get married early. Like, reject the siren song of modernity and have lots of kids. Like, being a partner at a local law firm actually isn't that big of a deal. Having 3 kids is a really big deal and will make you happier. And it's okay to be a stay-at-home mom. In fact, we need a lot of stay-at-home moms. And a lot of women want to be stay-at-home moms, and we have miserable women because we've been shuffling them into a corporate wasteland when in reality a lot of them don't find a lot of passion or fulfillment in that line of work. And who can blame them?
Exactly.
Thank
God
you.
bless you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
These are some of the hard truth no one wants to hear.
Another thing, women, if they want to get an abortion, they're going to find a way to get an abortion, whether it's legal or not. So women are going to go to places that are not safe, not sanitary, like disgusting places.
Okay.
And they're going to die from that.
Okay. Murdering another human being shouldn't be safe. You would agree with that. If somebody tries to shoot me, it shouldn't be safe for him to do that.
This argument is like saying we should legalize heroin so people do it more safely. Insane logic.
I want to get paid the same as a man, and I think you understand that. So, if you become president, will a woman make the same as a man, and do I get to choose what I do with my body?
You're going to make the same if you do as good a job.
She thought she asked a difficult question. So that's all it takes to get them to leave. Were we just given the password?
Are you familiar with the gender unicorn? Or some of you are, and some of you are lucky, and you've never encountered the gender unicorn. Here. Do we have... I knew the gender unicorn was going to do it. I knew that was going to cause the students to walk out. Is that... That's a very articulate salute from one of these students. Raising high that creepy flag. All right. Guys, you didn't even let me get to the genderbread man. I had another one up my sleeve. All right, goodbye. What did you say? Someone said something about children? I'm not surprised that those creeps said something about children. That's exactly why we're here tonight. It's because very radical, very creepy people are trying to indoctrinate children into sexual ideologies. All right, now that they're gone.
I used to ask myself, can people get any dumber? No need anymore.
Age is just a number in my mind because I mentally feel younger than I am, so we're ageless. You're only as old as you feel.
Well, are you?
I feel young. I feel as young as these girls sitting at the table.
I'm still a little confused. I don't know if I'm just a little slow or something. I'm just confused.
The silence was so loud and the delusion was very sad.
You do this for a living. It's fun to you. It's fun to watch people come up and have valid points, but then you sit there on your little high altar and just do this.
Well, does swearing make you more correct?
Why don't you just move? Who gives a
He thinks saying grown-up words is a replacement for having something worth saying.
That's disgusting.
Abortion is disgusting, you're right.
Hearing shit like that is disgusting.
Why? Well, you're dropping the F-bomb right in her face and you're flipping off a total stranger. Maybe your kid doesn't need to see that.
The correlation between obesity and stupidity is incredible.
I don't have to say whatever the I want.
Did you damage his sign?
I have it on video.
No,
I can see that you guys have it on video. So what's gonna happen? With all respect.
So here's the damage.
So are we pressing?
Yes, yes. Destruction of private property. Yep. After good behavior, 6 months in community service, the judge will drop it.
I am a full-time student. I'm coming back here in the summertime.
Nope. Next time you'll think not to do it.
Dude, like you can't find any like peace in your heart and understanding.
I will let. No, what was insane is what you did for no reason.
What I'm saying is that your friend is in a bunny suit and you're outside of a liberal arts school inciting you.
I'm on a public street and a public sidewalk on a public street.
I don't understand this.
This is probably the 3rd or 4th flag that's been damaged.
Hampering my studies and my future, though. Don't you think it kind of gets in the way of like me growing and becoming as an individual?
Teachable moment.
What is a teachable moment?
This. Right now.
What about your president that's literally getting...
The nerve of that girl saying, "Can't you find any peace in your heart?" Hang on a second, where was the peace in your heart when you attacked him and his sign? No, sweetheart, you're going to have to learn the hard way. Enjoy.
What is a woman?
What is it? That's a stupid question, dude. That's a dumb question.
What is a woman? It's not a trick question. What is a woman?
Someone who identifies as a woman.
You can't answer the question with the question. Yeah, define the woman without saying woman.
It's a social
You're in college, paying for an education. What is a woman?
How about you talk to someone with media training? How about you talk to someone
You don't need media training. It's not a trick. What is a woman?
Who identifies as a woman.
You can't answer the question with the...
What are you talking about?
It's the college kids of America going hundreds of thousands of dollars into debt who think it's a trick question when you ask them what a woman is.
I love how they all resort to a violence and name-calling once they realize their argument holds no value.
You respect human rights, I assume?
Yeah.
So why not respect animal rights?
Because they're animals.
Okay, you're an animal.
That's cool.
They're sentient, you're sentient.
Different
They
type
feel
of
pain,
animal.
they suffer, they want to live life, they want to feel joy, they want to feel happiness, just like you do. Why not give them the same respect that you do to humans?
Back to my point of view, I've listened to you.
No, you didn't answer my question. Why would you not respect their right to life?
Because they taste good.
Oh, but humans taste good too.
You've eaten a human, have you?
Why would they taste any different to any other animal?
So you've eaten a human,
No, I
have
haven't.
you? So how do you know they taste good?
Many people have eaten humans and they do it because they taste good. You wouldn't justify cannibalism, would you?
Gotta do what you gotta do.
These grass-eating people are getting bolder by the day, thinking they can tell others what to or not to eat.
Do you read The Guardian? Do you read The Guardian? You read The Guardian, don't you? I know I'm gay, actually.
Okay, females.
I'm gay. You see, typical lefty. You don't like someone, call them homophobic, call them a fascist, call them a racist, call them a Nazi. That's what The Guardian teaches you. This is what happens when you drink too much soya milk. It rots your brain. This is the project of soya milk. It rots your brain. It rots your brain. No. No. I'm gay and therefore it's my right to have a microphone. Say again? You can identify as a microphone.
Using their own logic against them has proven to be the best comeback.
What are you doing? Why are you in the girls' bathroom?
I'm a trans girl.
But you're not a girl.
Oh, we're doing one of these.
Yeah.
Interesting. I've done this before. I don't know what to say. I'm sorry you feel that way.
Yeah, I pay a lot of money to be safe in the bathroom.
Me too. Excuse me. Rude.
Do you think that's okay?
It's the dirty smirk on his face for me. He thinks he can use a lady's bathroom just because he dresses like one? That's just a pervert dressed in a woman's outfit.
So I have a quote from you here. It says, I think that they're meaning the Black Lives Matter movement, whole existence is just a liberal progressive socialist movement to make sure that they keep the black community on the 21st century economic plantation that's been created by the left. Would you like to clarify that?
I can clarify it very easily. You can follow the money, and the money of Black Lives Matter goes back to a guy, George Soros, so that tells you one thing. And let me tell you, all lives matter. It's not just about Black Lives Matter, okay? Now, if you really are concerned, start talking about school choice in the black community. If you really are concerned, start talking about the decimation of the black family, which I don't hear. Do not be manipulated by people that are using you as a political tool so that you can keep your own people suppressed. Get off the plantation and think on your own.
Perfect response, but she didn't hear it.
You think that speech is violence. That's what that sign says.
The conversation that you're having is oppressive.
So I am oppressing people by what I'm doing. So I am exerting violence on people by my speech. That's what the sign says, and that's what you just said. And the protester is saying that's exactly what I'm doing, and she's saying that's exactly what her sign means. So that means that you, a faculty member at an American public university, paid for by taxpayer dollars, are conflating speech with violence.
Yes. Speech can be violent. What you are saying contributes to systemic racism in this country. It means that my students of color are pulled over and accused of stealing a car when they did not.
I'm not pulling anybody over for stealing
I'm
any
not
cars.
saying that you
I see many
personally
people
did.
of many different races in this room. They all seem to be doing just fine. No, I haven't asked because no violence has been committed on you. Because violence is not a subjective feeling. Violence is an objective fact.
Broke my arm with that speech, since speech can be violent.
Agreeing with the business case of the airlines in terms of obesity.
That's greed, Lynn, and that's just greed.
Okay.
Well,
I think
you're a perfect example of greed, Sweet Pea, because you weigh 25 stone.
All this body positivity turned into toxic positivity.
Everyone brings up. You know what my answer is? Punish the.
But what if they don't? Okay.
Punish the and protect the child.
Baby inside of me, and then what?
Punish the protect the child. Protect the child.
Okay, so just say a little 8-year-old girl.
8-year-olds probably can't conceive human beings.
Why are they yelling? They asked the question.
I'm Chris.
What's your name?
Chris.
Chris? Okay, Chris.
I want you to tell me exactly the point in history where America was great.
You know,
as
it's
a
funny.
black man.
Point to me a time in history where America wasn't great. Tell me where it started.
The birth of America.
Point in America where America wasn't great.
On murder and thievery and deception. What do you mean?
Now let me explain this to you real quick. This is for everybody to listen to. Everybody always have this perception that we shouldn't acknowledge America as being great. America started at a certain point and grew and came better over time. No country that you know of was 100% perfect at the foundation. No country. And it became greater over
didn't
time.
Answer my question.
Ever since you've been alive, America has been the greatest it's ever been.
You think so?
100%, brother. You can name somewhere else that's better than America. And why don't you live there?
I'm not sure.
I know you're not sure because they don't.
The level of historical idiocy of young Americans is beyond comprehension.
You know, I really agree with everything you have to say about restoring American morality. And one of the things you say is that in order to restore our values and save America, that we have to quit pornography. But I have a crippling porn addiction, and so I just want to know, how you resist.
Look, you kind of revealed yourself with the mask, that you're a satire. There's no way you agree with everything that I'm saying. But I will talk about this issue. Porn destroys lives. It's predatory. It's not good for you. There's no redemptive quality. It's a serious issue. It affects the brain harsher than heroin and then cocaine. A lot of people struggle with it, and I've talked openly about it in my life with the debate I had with the porn person. Look, I'll just tell you honestly, I think it's disgusting that you're coming up here and trying to create satire of life, of something that destroys people's lives, and I think that's really reprehensible. So, next question. Thank you.
She thought she was being funny and clever. Turns out she's neither. Thank God she wore a mask. That was embarrassing.
Go ahead.
You were speaking all with theoreticals. You're saying like, oh, if someone is raped, they should be able to like, blah, blah, blah. The reality
Punish
is,
the rapist.
Yeah, that doesn't fucking happen.
It should.
Rapist rarely gets punished.
Oh, I know. Rapists love abortion. It gets them off the hook.
Here condemning that. Instead,
Oh, yeah, I am.
the victim.
Just in case you're curious, we condemn rape. No. Someone rapes a person, right? What?
Where are you condemning rape?
Women are not sex objects. Babies are not body parts. You can't do whatever you want to a woman, and you can't do whatever you want to a baby. It's consistency. We've all been there. That's true. You've been there. I've been there. We've been in the womb. We developed. Yeah.
You sure?
Positive.
Garbage, bro. What if you don't know I'm not IVF.
IVF is still in a womb. Are you serious? In vitro fertilization, they fertilize the egg outside and they place it in a mother's womb and they develop. All human beings have.
She watched Boss Baby and thought that was IVF.
You've asserted that no one would ever see me as a woman, that nobody would ever see or could see a transgender person as a woman, and yet I have dozens of friends from diverse backgrounds, women from the reservation, a woman from Japan, several immigrant women. I have my coworkers, I have my boss, my VP, my CEO, all respecting me as a woman, my family, my long-term friends who are actually here with me. All of these people assure me, like, I'm a woman. They'll tell me, girl, like, there is no way you are a man. They see me as a woman. So the question, how can you assert that nobody would ever see me as a woman when my material experience tells me you're wrong?
Okay, it's interesting that that's the part of my talk you chose to ask a question about, because that's not in my talk at all. I don't believe I said that no one would ever see you as a woman. I mean, it's possible, I suppose, that you could fool someone. Now, you brought this up, so I have to tell you that you brought this up. You've put your identity on the table for conversation. And so I'm going to say you wouldn't fool me at all. I mean, I see a man 100%. And I think that most people would. Now, the fact that you have people in your life who are saying to you, oh, you're totally a woman, it's exactly what I'm talking about. No one in my life has ever once said to me, you're totally a man, Matt. You know, if a friend of mine called me on the phone and said, listen, Matt, I want you to know you're really a man, I would think that there was something wrong with him. I would say, why are you saying that at all? It doesn't make any sense. So the fact that this is a conversation to begin with tells me, it only proves the point that I'm trying to make, that your identity, even in your own mind, is up for, is something that you need to be assured.
These people took the "you can be whatever you want to be when you grow up" speech to an entirely different level.
What do you think about the distinction between cis women and trans women?
Explain.
Well, you're saying that a more inclusive usage of the word mother isn't particularly offensive because we also have biological mother.
Yes.
We've offered the term cis woman, and even biological woman or assigned female at birth. We've offered a variety of terms that properly categorize people.
Again, you cannot extend the term woman to apply to a biological male. Every category has an endpoint. If there are only two categories, male and female, and you say that female now is in this category, there are no definitions. There are no definitions. I mean, to paraphrase my friend Matt Walsh, I'm going to need you to explain what a woman is without reference to the word woman.
They insist we call them by whatever terms they want, but they refuse to return the favor.
If someone needs a kidney transplant and there's like only one person on the world that can like provide the kidney, is it still in the government's right to like force that person to give up a kidney? In the same way, like, is it in the government's right to force a woman to like give up her like uterus for 9 months to support a fetus that eventually becomes a human?
That's the violence argument. The whole thought experiment is you're walking around the streets one day, you get kidnapped, you wake up in a hospital bed, you look down, you're connected with wires to another human being. The Society of Music Lovers has kidnapped you because there's a world famous violinist who's this worldwide treasure and has this debilitating disease. He is going to die, and you are the only person on the face of this earth who can keep him alive. But don't worry, in 9 months he's gonna be all good, you can get unhooked, right? That's the whole argument. So, and that's supposed to be analogous to abortion, right? A woman having to give up the space in her uterus for a human being. I think what that analogy, that thought experiment fundamentally lacks is acknowledging the difference between stranger and the woman and the child and the woman. Because unless you're talking about cases of sexual assault, a woman has given consent to get pregnant because she has chosen to engage in a behavior that could result in pregnancy. She may not want to get pregnant, but she knowingly entered into a decision knowing that a consequence of that decision could be the creation of a unique, whole, living human life. It's also different, too, simply unplugging than actively killing. And I think that's a difference, too. Because in that case, you would be actively just unplug, you would remove your support. And abortion, that child is safe, that child is secure, is growing inside of his or her mother, and you're not just removing your support, you're actively going in with a suction device, with a curette, you're going in with pills to starve. You are going in to intentionally end the life of the human being.
Girl, when did a kidney become the same as a baby?
Victim groups like these people. I know you're so oppressed, my dears. I know life is so hard for you. You have to live in the richest, most equitable, most just country in the history of the world. You have to get a college education. You have to voluntarily go to lectures. It's so awful. I can't imagine that, the people who are in war-torn nations, they must truly pity you. Goodbye then.
They can never handle the truth. They either just run or become aggressive.
Do you believe you could pick your pronouns?
Yes.
Do you believe you could pick your adjectives?
Yes. You can choose different adjectives.
So I could be
different
I could be
use.
small, I could be strong, I could be rich, I could be smart just by my own imagination?
It's a matter of social utility.
Okay, so what do you think determines reality?
You can empirically measure someone's chromosomes, but you can't empirically measure how much of a man or a woman someone is. So what makes something more manly versus more feminine? There's
testosterone, estrogen, muscle mass, size,
that's related to
proclivity towards emotional distress.
But you can change those.
I'm sorry? You can
change levels of testosterone and estrogen or androgen levels.
Well, you could suppress artificially and put things in. You could also remove critical body parts. There's a lot of things you could do that are not right. Thank you. No, next question. Thank you.
You like Joe Biden?
Yeah, thank you.
Joe Biden is not.
Thanks for.
The way my eyes rolled all the way to the back of my head.
With my own religion.
Ooh,
that
triggered.
Satanic. I was satanic. I believe, and I am.
That's right.
I'm a practicing pagan.
Yep.
I believe that I can do whatever I want.
Yep.
And I have the right to an abortion in my religion, and it's completely.
So in many states that have restrictive laws against abortion, the Temple of Satan is officially suing and asking for injunctions stating that laws that prevent abortion prohibit Satanists from practicing their religion, and meaning that because they believe a woman should be able to sacrifice a child to abortion as part of the religious practice. So do you agree with the Church of Satan?
I believe that, Church of Satan should be able to do whatever they want. It's a religion. I believe we're in a free country, and we're in America. God bless America. We're in a free country. We should all be.
God bless. I think you're a pagan.
I'm just saying what you guys would say. God bless America, right?
Well, isn't God
You're Christian.
Bless
I'm putting myself in your position. God is the main religion in America, correct? Correct.
Well,
Christianity is the main practicing religion in the United States, correct?
Yes.
Yes. So I am saying in my opinion, and I feel like, it's a free country that we should be able to choose whether or not we agree with abortion and not abortion. Otherwise, it is not a free country. And I feel like that's very understandable. I think
it's very understandable to say that we in our free country, there are limits to our freedoms. There are limits to all of our freedoms.
Of course, yeah.
There's always limits to our freedom. There's no absolute right to bodily
100%.
autonomy, right? Would you agree with me with
yes,
that?
I do agree.
Yeah, so there are limits to our freedoms, and one of those limits should be killing innocent other human beings. And we can't go around killing innocent others. That is bad. Regardless of what our religious beliefs are, that's one of the fundamental, that's natural law.
She thought she made a point there.
What do you think about veganism? Vegetarianism.
I am not a fan of veganism, but you have a right to be vegan, obviously.
So let me clarify. You on abortion, you support pretty much banning abortion in most situations.
But humans are not rabbits.
Do you think it's a little bit hypocritical that you oppose abortion, but you also oppose veganism? Most animals, most adult, like cows, pigs, chickens, they're more intelligent than fetuses and little children, small
so
infants.
I can't believe I can't believe
So
I have
how
to,
come-
I
so
can't
I'm
believe I have
asking-
to answer this. Can I answer?
Yeah. So how come you're saying that
Can I
children?
answer?
Okay. Yes. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, if you leave a cow for 5 years, will the cow ever be able to talk?
No.
If you leave a fetus for 5 years, will the fetus be able to talk?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
So
Maybe.
then which one has reason and a soul and can make sense of the natural world, aka an elevated being worthy of protection?
But that's
a cow
not-
or a human being?
That's not a good argument. That's like saying mute humans that are born that are without the ability to speak can't have rights.
It's not just about speaking, it's about reason. It's about having a soul. It's about being.
Poor guy, you can tell he came in feeling so prepared. Well, if it isn't the consequences of their actions coming to bite them in the butt.
The question is actually for you, Vivek. First off, thanks for coming. Second, as a person of color and as someone of Indian descent, does it offend you whenever there's comments made about Kamala and some racial insensitivities on that? Does that offend you in any way or hurt you, or does that drive you to still try to be representative of your party even when those comments are made by your party?
Give me a specific comment.
Okay, well, for example, the recent thing that was, if Kamala got elected, the White House would smell like curry. Does that offend you in any way, or is that just like drive for you to?
For the record, Trump
do it?
did not say
No,
that.
Donald Trump did not say that, but it was still implied as there's a presidential election. Needs to
So I'm actually I'm a pretty thick-skinned guy. I can tell the difference between somebody who has an earnest joke and the person who actually happens to say that. I happen to know doesn't have ill will towards Indian people. But if you're gonna joke, my only rule is you better apply 360 degrees. Okay, you can't apply it select.
I knew she was gonna bring food up. That's all for now. Thanks for joining the conversation. Don't come at me. Woke folks, facts don't care about your feelings, and it's about time you come back to reality. See you in the next video.